Today I'm going to show you how you can go from this to this as I demonstrate how to paint white over black. It's coming right up. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. And if you're new to the channel and you want to keep up to date with the Wonders of Warhammer 40k, then please subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss an upload. And remember, I upload on a Monday, Thursday and Saturday every week. Now, of course, if you want to paint white on a model, it's actually better to prime your model with a white or grey primer. If there's only certain parts of the model that you want to paint white, it's better not to glue the model together and actually prime the pieces separately. White for the section you want white, and then black for the rest of it. However, sometimes we don't know what colours we're going to use as we build and prime our models. Sometimes we buy second-hand models which are already built and primed, and then you decide you want to paint white. Now, painting white is a difficult colour to paint anyway, let alone over a black primer. However, today I'm going to show you an easy way on how you can do it. So let's go table down and have a look. Okay, so here we go. I've got my Noise Marine holding his guitar, and it's the guitar that I am going to paint in a nice bright white colour. So first of all, we're going to get some paint. We're going to start off with Dawnstone Grey. So this is a medium grey paint. Give it a good shake and then empty it out on your wet palette. Now we're going to add a little bit of water to this. We want a nice thin mixture. I'm putting in about 50-50 water and paint. Once this is done, we are going to be ready to start painting the guitar. Now I'm using a Games Workshop base brush, and I'm going to spread this layer across the guitar. Now I'm going to do a thin coat. It doesn't have to cover everything at this stage. We're going to go in with more than one coat. We're just going to spread the paint over, trying not to paint over the paint more than once. We don't want the paint to dry and then to leave any brush marks on it. So I'm going to do that all over the guitar. What we're trying to do is end up with a nice thin even coat of grey all over the black guitar. So that is the first layer done. Basically I'm going to repeat exactly the same process. You can see one or two misses here and there. As I said, the first coat is very rough. The second coat we're going to go in now, and we're just going to overlay everything. Now potentially you may need 2 or 3 coats to build up this base colour. I'm probably only going to need 2 coats on this particular piece because it's quite a small piece. Sometimes the bigger the piece, the more coats of paint you'll need. So there you go, that's it now with its second coat. We've got a nice even coverage. So now we're going to get the next paint, and that's Administratum Grey. So this is basically a light coloured grey. Again, we're going to shake it up. We're going to put some into our wet palette. Then we're going to add some more water, and again we're going to do a 50-50 mix of water and paint. And then we're going to take the same brush and we're going to repeat the first step. So we're basically going to cover the whole of the guitar with this colour. So basically we're just making the guitar a lighter grey. Now you could go in with this light grey straight away over the black, however you would have to do a lot more coats than I'm actually doing here. So again, I'm probably only going to need 2 or 3 thin coats of this paint. So I'm going to finish this coat, and there we have it. Once again, I'm going to go back in and layer that coat of paint on once again, just building up the paint so we've got a nice thin even coat all over the guitar. Thin coat is the key to ending up with a nice looking white. Okay, so that is that layer done. As you can see, it's looking pretty decent there. Okay, so next up is I'm going to change the water. I want some nice fresh water. I don't want any contaminated water with the grey in it. And the reason for that is the next colour that we're going to use is white scar. We want to make sure that we've got a nice white colour. I have once again mixed this white paint with some water, 1-to-1 mixture, to give me a nice thin paint. And then we're going to paint right over the grey that we've already painted. Again, thin coats, evenly spread. Don't worry about covering everything straight away. That's the reason why we do several coats of paint. So I'm just going to finish up the first coat of white. And this is what it looks like after the first coat. It's looking pretty good. You can still see some of the grey underneath. So we're going to hit the guitar up with another layer of that white paint. Now of course we need to make sure we dry the paint in between layers. In actual fact, when I was doing this, I was drying the paint with a hairdryer in between layers just to speed the process up. But make sure that the paint is totally dried before you put the next layer on. So I'm going to finish this up. This is going to be the second coat of white over the top of the greys. Now of course I'm using the Citadel paints in this video, but you could use any paints that you like. Army Painter or Vallejo, it doesn't really matter. Just use similar colours to the ones that I'm using here. Right, so once we've done this coat, guess what we're going to do? We are going to add another layer, because although that does look pretty white, I really want this white to be as bright as possible. So I'm going to go in with another layer of white over the top of it. And because I'm using my wet palette, of course, the paint is staying wet on my palette. I've actually got a video of how you can make your own wet palette. I'll link you up to that in the description below. And there we go, looking pretty good. I am, however, going to go in with one more layer of paint because, as I said, I really want this white to be as bright as possible. So I'm going to go in with one more coat just to finish up the guitar, and then that will be done. Now, considering that started off as a black primed base, I'm really happy how that came out. So I've got a nice white, I haven't got any chalkiness, and I've got a nice even coverage. And that is how I paint white over black.